And Mr. Parker.
Yes.
All right, so we're just gonna go ahead and move into the back conference room, to discuss a couple matters before we move back into the finance and the HR committee reports. All right. Stephanie looks confused. We just threw a We're gonna go ahead and come out of the executive session. Michael?
The second.
Second.
Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Here.
Ms. Rodriguez? Ms. Rashid?
Here.
Yes.
And Mr. Parker?
Yes.
All right, we're now gonna move into the finance committee report.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I will be in lieu of Trustee Corrigan today. So we are going to start with our Exhibit 1, resolution to accept gifts for the month of May. Whereas the board receives gifts of monies, library service materials, technology, resources, and miscellaneous non-monetary gifts from generous citizens from time to time. And be it resolved that the gifts described in the gift report for May of 2026 be accepted upon the conditions connected with said gifts in accordance with Section 3375.40K of the Ohio Revised Code. So moved.
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Excuse
Well
me,
done.
Michael. Ms. Rashid will not be voting on Tom's
Oh, yes.
behalf. So I think we do have a quorum otherwise for the
So
finance
noted.
committee.
That was
Please,
my
So
fault.
noted.
that's okay, no, thank you.
And we are at Exhibit 2, resolution to accept funding from the Cleveland Public Library Foundation. Whereas the Cleveland Public Library Foundation raises funds and seeks grants from organizations and donors in order to be able to provide financial support to the Cleveland Public Library. And whereas Cleveland Public Library Foundation applied for and was awarded a digital excellence grant in the amount of $33,300 to support the Cleveland Public Library's One CLE Kiosk project, a 12-month initiative led by the library's Department of Innovation and Technology that aims to combine convenience, community partnership, and digital inclusion by piloting the placement of 5 digital kiosks in high foot traffic areas of select community anchor institutions. And now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Cleveland Public Library, pursuant to the authority set forth in RC 3375.40K, hereby accepts grant funds totaling $33,300 to be deposited into the Founders Fund 203046-46100-20301 restricted gifts, and expresses its gratitude to the Cleveland Public Library Foundation and the Cleveland Foundation for their generous support of the Cleveland Public Library. Wonderful.
And the second?
Second.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes. And we are at Exhibit 3, resolution to accept the State Library of Ohio funding for the Ohio Library for the Blind and Print Disabled, OLBPD. Whereas Cleveland Public Library began its first organized service to visually disabled patrons as early as 1903, and be it resolved that the Board of Library Trustees accepts the State Library of Ohio funding award of up to $1,508,194 to be paid from the General State Revenue Fund, with up to $150,000 to be paid from fiscal year 2025 LSTA carryover funds, up to $84,000 to be paid from fiscal year 2026 LSTA funds, and up to $1,274,194 to be paid from Fund 5GB0. And be it further resolved that the President of the Board or the Executive Director, CEO, or his designee is authorized to enter into an agreement with the State of Library, Ohio for the funding, and to execute such other agreements and instruments as may be necessary or appropriate, including those in excess of $79,568, to effectuate the terms and the conditions of this resolution, which agreements and instruments shall be subject to the approval of the library's chief legal officer. And be it further resolved that the Board of the Library Trustees expresses its appreciation to the State Library of Ohio.
Second.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Ms. Butts?
Yes.
And Ms. Shakarian?
Yes. Okay, Exhibit 4, resolution regarding library insurance renewals. Whereas the library's insurance policies for property, general liability, commercial auto, commercial crime, cyber liability, umbrella, excess liability, and public officials and employee practices liability coverage expires on August 1st, 2026. And be it resolved that the Board of Trustees authorizes the Executive Director, CEO, or his designee to make the final determination to accept the insurance packages that provide the best coverage for the lowest overall cost for a total annual premium of all policies not to exceed $809,245, and the coverage purchased will be presented for further ratification by the Board of Library Trustees at their next regularly scheduled board meeting.
So before the vote, I'm happy to speak a bit to that resolution. The 809,000 figure that Trustee Rashid just read represents the essentially worst-case budgetary scenario. We do not expect a 24.5% increase in our property and casualty insurance premiums. That is included in that figure simply so that we will have an outside amount that we expect our insurance premiums to be well under, so that we'll have authority to execute and bind coverage before the September board meeting. The majority of our insurance is currently purchased through McGowan companies, and that covers all of our property and most of our casualty insurance. They are still in the process of obtaining quotes for the insurance, so we are not really certain what that's going to come in at. But our insurance policies that are purchased through Marsh, that's our employment practice liability insurance and our public officials liability insurance, we know what that premium is coming in at, and that's roughly a 10.1% increase over our expiring, which, while the number itself seems a bit high, it is lower than expected. We have been working with Chubb. This will be our 5th year with them. We have made a few claims with them over the last few years, and the amount of claims that they have paid out still exceeds the amount of premiums which we paid them. So the fact that they are giving us only a 10.1% increase, which is about $7,200, shows that they are interested in keeping us as a client and are doing their best to keep our costs in order.
Excuse me for not knowing.
Yes.
This, but just for my education, why do we have 2 brokers?
So we did a request for proposals 5 years ago to locate to get policies for renewal, and Chubb was the lowest priced carrier for our EPLI and public officials policies. The incumbent insurer was AIG, which we had gotten through McGowan and companies. McGowan was unable to quote us for Chubb. Marsh was able to, so we split them out that way.
Gotcha.
And is the public officials inclusive of director and officer liability?
Yes.
Okay. And I think it would be helpful, just because I am newer to the board, to see the last 5 years of totals, just to have perspective on what we can expect
Okay.
for this August 1st.
Thank you.
Second.
Mr. Parker?
Yeah.
Ms.
Yes.
Potts?
Yes.
And Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
I always feel like in a blink of an eye, the insurance conversations always come back up.
I know.
I swear we just talked about it.
Exactly. It's like-
We are at Exhibit 5, Resolution to Authorize Director to Negotiate and Enter into Electricity Contract to take effect after expiration of current contract. Whereas on June 18th, 2024, the Board of Library Trustees ratified the agreement entered into by the library on June 12th, 2024 with CPV Retail Energy LP for electricity at the rate of $5.33 cents per kilowatt for a 24-month contract term from August 2024 through August 2026, and be it resolved that the Board of Library Trustees hereby authorizes the Executive Director, CEO, or his designee to negotiate and enter into new agreement commencing August 2026 with an electricity supplier that the library administration determines offers the best value, which agreement shall be subject to the review and approval of the library's chief legal officer, and be it further resolved that the contract entered into will be presented for ratification by the Board of Library Trustees at their next regularly scheduled board meeting.
So to add a little bit of context to the resolution before you today, in years past, we have We had previously worked with an energy broker to secure pricing in advance of our June board meetings. Those prices were based on the forecast for what energy, electricity, and gas would be priced at when our contract expires. And we would have a quote from them, firm quote, that we would be able to sign upon authorization by this board. The approach we are taking this year is slightly different. We are in the process of evaluating responses to a request for proposals that we issued last month to identify a new energy broker if we do in fact determine to go that route. We are also looking at the possibility of purchasing our gas and electric through state cooperative purchasing programs, which eliminate the need to pay a broker's commission in the fee that we are paying for the electricity. In years past, we've presented a per kilowatt hour or per metric cubic foot gas rate, and in those rates there was a broker's fee included. So we're still in that process. We expect to have a decision as to how we're going to procure that is either through a broker or through the state program. We'll have that decision made very shortly, and we will have pricing locked in well in advance of our contract expiration. But this resolution before you is asking for the authority to enter into that contract at this time and then present it back in September for
So
approval.
this RFP was for all of our properties except I assume Garden Valley
Well,
because it's a rental. or-
all of our properties, we would be able to include Garden Valley because we are paying that
Oh, okay.
rate directly. It would apply to all of the properties irrespective of whether they're CPP or
That was my other question, yeah. First
or
energy.
First Energy.
Mhm.
The goal is still a 24-month term, or that depends upon how the rates come back?
It depends on what the rates are looking like. Thank you.
Thank you. We are at Exhibit 6, Resolution.
So
moved.
Sorry,
Second?
I forgot.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Ms. Butts?
Yes.
And Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that, Michael. We are at Exhibit 6, Resolution to extend existing agreement with Charles E. Harris and Associates, Inc. to perform the regularly scheduled audits of the Cleveland Public Library for the fiscal period from January 1, 2026 through December 31st, 2030. Whereas the fiscal officer of the Cleveland Public Library provides the Board of Trustees with monthly financial statements and full financial statements at the close of each fiscal year, as required by Ohio Revised Code, Section 3375.36. And whereas the total all-inclusive maximum fee for the audit of the fiscal statements of the Cleveland Public Library for the period of January 1, 2026 through December 31, 2030 is $126,000, which costs the library administration finds to be fair and reasonable, with the audit service fees to be charged to the general fund account 111-00053-53720 auditors fees. Now therefore be it resolved that the executive director, CEO, or his designee is authorized to sign the execution agreement and return to the AOS for review and approval. Once the paperwork is signed by the AOS, a fully executed document will be sent to the IPA firm and the Cleveland Public Library. No audit work may be performed or payments lawfully made regarding this contract until such approval is obtained.
Second?
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Ms. Butts?
Yes.
And Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
We are at Exhibit 7, Resolution Designating Depositories of Public Monies. Whereas pursuant to a notice requesting the submission of applications to serve as depositories of public monies of the Cleveland Public Library Board of Trustees, applications which are presently on file in the Office of the Fiscal Officer and are incorporated herein by reference, have been received from eligible institutions. It is therefore essential that the action be taken on such applications. Now therefore be it resolved that the application to serve as depositories of the active monies for this board, which have been received from the financial institutions referred to below, all of which are hereby determined to be eligible institutions for the deposits of such monies and hereby found to be in conformity with the law, including Chapter 135 of the Ohio Revised Code, and the following financial institutions are hereby designated as public depositories of the active monies under the control of this board for the period from August 23rd, 2026 to the including August 22nd, 2031, Key Bank National Association, the Huntington National Bank, provided, however, that none of the foregoing institutions shall be permitted to receive and have on deposit at any one time a greater amount of active deposits of money of this board than that specified in its application for the same. Be it further resolved that the applications to serve as depositories for the interim fund of this board, which have been received from the financial institutions referred to below, all of which are hereby determined to be eligible institutions for the deposits of such monies, are hereby found to be in conformity with law, including Chapter 135 Ohio Revised Code, and the financial institutions referred to below are hereby designated as public depositories of the interim money under the control of this board for the period from August 23rd, 2026 to and including August 22nd, 2031. Huntington Bank National Association, the Huntington National Bank. The fiscal officer of this board is authorized to determine from time to time the amount of funds available for investment or deposit of such interim monies and to select classifications of obligations for the instrument or deposit of such monies as provided in Section 135.14 Ohio Revised Code, provided that if such money are determined to be deposited in interim deposits in accordance with Division C of Section 135.14, the same shall be deposited with the financial institution specified above, which offered to pay the highest permissible interest rate with respect to certificates of deposits, or in case two or more such institutions offer to pay the same highest permissible interest rate as nearly as practicable in provision to the respective capital funds as defined in Section 135.01C Ohio Revised Code, taking into account the amount of funds from time to time be deposited, the amount required to be deposited to obtain a higher interest rate, and maturity dates and rights of redemption with respect to respective deposits, and provided further that the fiscal officer shall within 30 days after classifying any public monies as interim money, notify this board of such classifications and for the investments or deposits made pursuant to this section, be it further resolved that the award of public monies herein made is subject to the provisions of Chapter 135 of the Ohio Revised Code, including the limitations imposed by and the variations permitted by Section 135.03 and 135.20. Therefore, respectively, and subject to the provisions of such chapter, deposits of such monies shall be made pursuant to the resolution from time to time in accordance with the financial requirements of this board. Be it further resolved that the fiscal officer is hereby directed to keep all such applications on file in her office, and be it further resolved that the fiscal officer of this board is hereby authorized and directed to execute on behalf of this board such memorandum agreements relating to this designation of such institutions as public depositories and by securing of deposits herein as are required, authorized, or permitted by law.
Was excellent.
That was a
tongue twister.
You did a great job. I'm
Wow.
impressed.
That was a lot.
Second,
Thank you.
Mr. Parker,
yes.
Ms. Potts,
Yes.
and Ms. Shakarian.
Yes.
Awesome. So we are at Exhibit 8, Resolution Accepting Bid and Awarding Contract for Lakeshore Facility Parking Lot. Ooh, this is fun. Whereas on May 6 and May 13, 2026, a notice to bidders was published in the Plain Dealer requesting bids for the removal and replacement of the asphalt parking lot at the library's Lakeshore facility, and be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Cleveland Public Library approves the opening of the sealed bids by the fiscal officer and hereby accepts the recommendation of the library administration and awards a contract for the Lakeshore facility parking lot resurfacing to Holland Paving and seat coating, which this board determines is the lowest responsible bidder for the total expenditure of $248,190 being charged to the Building and Repair Fund account 40123-003-53310 Building Repairs, and be it further resolved that the Executive Director, CEO, or his designee is hereby authorized to negotiate and execute a contract for the above awarded bid package and to execute such other instruments or documents as may be necessary or appropriate to effectuate the terms of this resolution, subject to the approval of the Chief Legal Officer, and be it further resolved that the Board of the Library Trustees authorizes the Executive Director, CEO, or his designee to issue change orders or to amend the agreement authorized by this resolution, provided the total of which Total of all such changes, orders, or amendments does not exceed $12,409.50, to which amount shall be charged to the Building and Repair Fund 401.
So
John, is asphalt cheaper than concrete?
is
Or
this not?
It is
isn't
generally,
this
yes,
a
ma'am.
facility
Is that where we're going with that?
Well, it's an
abandoned
existing
and not
asphalt
even-
parking lot, so we're gonna grind and remove the existing asphalt and then repave it.
and my other question is, how bad is it that we are doing this?
Me
when We're
too.
in the process of
Yeah,
dealing
me
with,
too. I'm wondering how bad is it? I haven't.
with Lake Shore and all of that going on.
Yeah, no, in technical terms, it's really bad.
Okay, perfect. That's all I needed to know.
We've been
Is it worse than
deferring.
my street in Cleveland?
It's enormous.
Yeah,
too.
yeah, I haven't been on your block, but it's in terrible condition.
Okay, I was just,
We've been holding off on deferred maintenance for Lakeshore while we figure out the long-term strategy there. The
Ah.
original estimates, design estimates for this job came in at $500,000. We just reduced scope, reduced area, really just to get the worst areas of patron and staff parking
Ah,
with an anticipation that will be there for some years in the future.
What's the timeline for?
We'll start working in August once the
Oh.
contract is signed, and should be done by September, early October.
Those don't take too long for.
so you're not
Resurfacing.
redoing the whole thing.
We're not.
Okay.
We're doing large areas. We're not doing kind of the back 40 behind the maintenance shed. We're not doing the walking paths, but just the main drive aisles where patrons and staff are parking.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you. We are at,
And the second,
Second?
Mr. Parker,
Yes.
Ms. Bunt,
Yes.
and Ms. Shakarian.
Yes.
okay, we are at Exhibit 9, resolution selecting and ranking most qualified engineer firms and authorizing agreements with top-ranked firms for Phase 2 of the Facilities Master Plan. Whereas the Cleveland Public Library placed an ad in the Plain Dealer on April 8 and 15th, 2026, announcing its requesting of statement of qualifications from engineering firms to provide surveying, environmental assessments, geotechnical engineering, and all other ancillary engineering services in connection with Phase 2 of the Facilities Master Plan. And be it resolved that the Board of Library Trustees hereby accepts the recommendation of the selection committee and announces the selection and ranking of the engineering firms as set forth in Exhibit A. And be it further resolved that the board authorizes the executive director, CEO, or his designee to negotiate and effectuate agreements for the various engineering services categories with the most qualified engineering firms in accordance with the requirements of the Ohio Revised Code, Section 153.69, which provides, among other things, that if the library fails to negotiate an agreement with the highest ranked firm for a price that's fair and reasonable, it shall terminate negotiations with the highest ranked firm and enter into negotiations with the firm ranked the second highest. This process shall be repeated with the third ranked firm in the event negotiations fail with the second highest firm, and be it further resolved that upon completion of negotiations, the executive director shall submit the agreements to this board for final approval or ratification as the case may be.
Second?
Were you happy with the bidders overall?
We got a good response. For those of you who are here for Group 1, you may recall we selected a single supplier for all of these services. That was Intertech PSI for Group 1, and we thought that would be simple to have kind of a single point of contact and get the efficiencies and economies of scale of having a single large partner. I think in the event, we found out that there was levels of overhead involved with that, and so we decided to give some other partners a chance to come out. So the panel went through the selection process, and as you can see, we're recommending a couple firms for multiple services and a couple firms for one service each. It is a little additional accounting and contract management, so always appreciate Carrie's team's help with that. But we feel good about the partners that we're recommending to the board to select.
Thank you.
And the second,
Second?
Mr. Parker,
Yes.
Ms. Bunt,
Yes.
and Ms. Shakarian.
Yes.
And we are at Exhibit 10, a resolution declaring urgent necessity and authorizing agreement for the purchase and installation of booster pumps for the main library and Louis Stokes Wing campus. Whereas the library published a notice to bidders in the Plain Dealer on April 20 and 27, 2026, seeking bids from contractors to replace 2 existing domestic booster pumps and expansion tanks located in the historic main library building. The booster pump, oh, whoops. Oh, wait, I skipped a line. Did I? two existing domestic booster pumps and expansion tanks located in the historic main library building, the booster pump replacement project. The booster pump replacement project will also consist of connecting the new booster pumps to the building's, how do you say that word? Siemens control system, and either connecting the pumps to this existing power supply or bringing a new power connection to the pumps. And be resolved that the Board of the Library Trustees declares an urgent necessity in the interest of the protection of the library property at the main library and Lewis Stokes Wing campus, and waives the competitive bidding requirement in order to permit the library to move forward with selecting a contractor to procure and equip and provide the necessary labor for the booster pump replacement project. And be it resolved that the board authorizes executive director, CEO, or his designee to enter into an agreement with the contractor for the booster pump replacement project, which agreement shall be subject to the approval of the chief legal officer, and the cost of which shall be charged to the building and repair fund account 401-90103-53340 building maintenance. And be it further resolved that the library administration is hereby instructed to submit such agreement to this board for ratification at its next regularly scheduled board meeting. So how do you say that word?
Siemens?
Siemens.
There are,
What's a booster pump?
it's how we're getting the water that we're drinking and that's coming out of the faucets from underground on Superior Avenue up to the 10th floor. Is
Oh, so this
basically-
is like is there an issue where it may not be like clean water that reaches our
No,
building?
the quality of the water is tested. No, this is just lifting the water from ground level up to wherever it's being discharged at a tap. And so as the resolution says, we did, and this is the potable water system, the drinking water system. It's not the fire water system. So the pumps on the sprinkler systems for the building remain in good working order, and the fire protection systems are all working. So as the resolution describes, we publicly bid this. The library's estimate for this work, material and labor, is $187,000 per. So per Ohio Revised Code, we had to make a public advertisement. We had engineers' drawings that we published. Carrie and Brian and some of the accounting team and some of my team were sitting at this table at noon on whatever day it was a few weeks ago, and there were no bids received, which is unusual but not unheard of. And so what this resolution is seeking is the ability for us to go out, having discharged our responsibility to publicly advertise the work, to directly seek quotes. We'll still get 3 competitive quotes, so there'll be some level of competition. We're working with our engineer to make sure we're best marketing to interested firms. And then in the event we get good bidding to issue the contract and then come back and ratify the purchase in September.
Second.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Ms. Buntz?
Yes.
And Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
We are at Exhibit 11, a resolution announcing design-build contractor for the replacement and upgrading of the main library and Lewis Stokes Wing fire detection and alarm system. Whereas on April 18, 2024, the Board of Trustees of the Cleveland Public Library authorized the Executive Director, CEO, or his designee to execute an agreement with Tech Inc. Engineering and Design in an amount not to exceed $372,600 for Criteria Architect services for the replacement and upgrading of the existing fire detection and alarm system at the main library and Lewis Stokes Wing campus, the fire alarm system replacement project. And be it resolved that the Board of the Library of Trustees hereby accepts the recommendation of the Evaluation Committee and announces the selection of Rulin Company and Wright Engineering LLC, whose total proposed price for the design build services for the project is $879,291.13 as the firm presenting the price and the technical proposal which represent the best value. And be it further resolved that the board authorizes the executive director, CEO, or his designee to enter into negotiations with the Rulin Company and Wright Engineering LLC for a design-build service agreement in accordance with the requirements of the Ohio Revised Code 153.693. If the library fails to negotiate a design-build contract with the Rulin Company and Wright Engineering LLC, then it may proceed to negotiate a contract with the second highest-ranked firm in accordance with Ohio Revised Code Section 153.693. And be it further resolved that upon completion of negotiations, the executive director, CEO, or his designee is authorized to execute the agreement with the Rulin Company and Wright Engineering LLC for design build services for the fire alarm system replacement project in the amount not to exceed $879,291.13, which shall be paid from the Building and Repair Fund account 401-901-055300-22901 construction improvements, which agreement is subject to the approval of the chief legal officer.
Second.
When was the last time we had this done?
We have not had the fire detection system in the main campus done since the Stokes Wing was built. So the system is original to LSW. We did retrofit Maine at the time LSW was constructed. So the system's going on 30 years old. It's very difficult to find replacement parts. This will be, the design build is one of the project execution for capital projects methods that the state permits. This will be the first time the Cleveland Public Library has done a design build contract. And so per the resolution, we hired, board approved the selection of our criteria engineer. Last year, we developed criteria documents, which are not stamped engineered drawings, but they convey the design intent. And now we're hiring a team that will do both the design to have it permit ready and then the construction effort. So we'll be back to board at the time we establish the GMP amendment, just like we do for our FMP projects, the guaranteed maximum price. And that's when the overall project budget, which again, we anticipate in that $6 million range, will be approved. So what the board will be approving now is the fees put forth by the design build team and the pre-construction phase of the project.
Thank you.
Sounds great.
Busy construction month.
Yeah?
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Ms. Bunce?
Yes.
And Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
We are at Exhibit 12, Sixth Amendment to the Year 2026 Appropriation, whereas Ohio Revised Code Section 5705.40 provides for the amendment of an appropriation measure when necessary, and be resolved that the sums indicated on the attached Sixth Amendment of the Year 2026 Appropriation Schedule be approved.
Second.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Ms. Bunce?
Yes.
And Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
And that concludes the Finance Committee report.
Impressive.
Thank
Sorry
you.
I had some tongue twisters. Huh?
I know. Thank you so much. I know you might have to use some. Please do. We're gonna move into the HR committee report. At this time, the exhibits will be for informational purposes only.
Okay, I present Exhibit 13, the regular employment report detailing the new hires, resignations, retirements, transfers, promotions, merit increases. And we are not voting right
No.
at the moment because we don't have quorum. Okay. And we have Exhibit 13A, regular employment report, a corrective report from April of 2025. And then a retirement recognition citation, Exhibit 14. And I will highlight that Rosita Smith is retiring. We will read the full resolution at the full board meeting. That concludes the Human Resources Committee report.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Rosita's gonna be at the full board then?
I understand, yes.
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. If there is nothing else, I call this meeting adjourned. Brian? Okay, yeah, Brian, why you look at me like that? Like it's gonna be something
I got a
bad.
question too.